So hello everybody and welcome to this webinar today, Your New Chapter. This is what we're exploring on today's webinar, and I'm hoping that this will give you a taste of our upcoming program, Your New Chapter, which is beginning on May 13th at 11 a.m. New York and 4 p.m. UK. So I wanted to give space and time for you to be able to go a little bit deeper with me, whether you're listening to the replay of this or whether you're here with me live. Either way, I'm quite certain that you will get a feel for whether or not this particular program is for you. Equally and importantly, you'll get a feel today for how you can begin to embrace your new chapter and whether or not a new chapter is calling you. Some of the ways we know a new chapter is calling us is through those feelings of dissatisfaction, things feeling a bit overripe, like almost old at this stage. Other feelings of just knowing that you're not totally in alignment with what you're up to or who you're with, and knowing that it's time to move on. And simple feelings too of just holding yourself back. You know, I was speaking to Karen earlier, who's here with us today, and she was just really honest about the fact that she knows the difference between when something feels in flow and when she's just repeating the same cycle. All of those symptoms are helpful indicators that a new chapter is beckoning, and you want to be really patient with yourself. This is the first thing I want to share with all of you. It's so important that you're patient with the blossoming into your new chapter, however that's going to look, whatever that's going to be. Rather than beating up on yourself that you're still in the same routine or you're still doing the same thing over and over again, or you're still haven't figured it out, I'm going to invite you today to stop listening to Bob the drunk guy in your head who's beating up on you about where you're at, and instead to begin to listen more deeply to that inner wisdom and that divine mind direction for your life. Because I can promise you that as you let yourself be guided and lived, you will find yourself in a new chapter versus forcing yourself into creating something for the sake of it. There's a big difference here. Lovely to see you here, Barbara, as well, joining us today. Great to see you. So on today's webinar, what I'd like to talk a bit more about with you is really, how we can go from scattered to focused, and why it's not really about reading a whole ton of books or even taking a million courses to get there or decluttering your wardrobe. I mean, I'm going to share with you a simple way today that you can move yourself from scattered to focused. And I'm also going to share with you some ways to cultivate that deeper connection with yourself with a capital S. Now, I refer to that self with a capital S as divine mind, because to me, it's one and the same. But I don't want you to be put off by my references. If you have another description for it, or you have another way of understanding it, then go with that. But ways you can cultivate that deeper connection with yourself, especially if you've been serving others for a long time now. And I don't just mean in your business or in your coaching or in your service. I mean, your family, your animals, your friends, the people around you. If you've been saying yes to a lot of other priorities and kind of lost feelings of passion, feelings of aliveness, feelings of inspiration, it's a helpful indicator that coming back to divine mind's direction for you will be helpful at this time. So today's webinar is full of good and juicy content. I'm also open to taking your questions. And towards the end of the webinar, I'll just share a little bit more about the program, what's happening, and how you can join us from Friday the 13th of May. To begin with, let's close our eyes and let's get ourselves settled here. Place your feet on the ground, everybody. And just take a couple of deep breaths in. So I like to sort of hold my stomach area when I'm doing this grounding because I can feel the breath deepening and lengthening. So you can do the same if you like. On the count of 4, if we can use the count of 4, just in, 2, 3, 4. Feel your tummy rising up. And out. 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm going for a minute or two. I'll come back in with communication when we're ready to move to the next step. And you're just lengthening the breath. And see roots coming from your feet down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Continuing your breathing in, 2, 3, 4. And out, 2, 3, 4. Pull yourself into this present moment. And in your mind's eye, I would like you to see a book in front of you. And I want you to set your intention that you're going to turn the page and start a new chapter for your life. Metaphorically now you can do that, or visually you can do that. Just see yourself opening at a page. Maybe something pops out, who knows? But I want you to see that you get to write the script. And that the script becomes known, becomes clear, becomes obvious, based on what you feel called, inspired, or alive about doing. Take a moment of honesty with yourself just now. What's calling you, alive for you, inspiring for you, without judgment? see yourself writing it down on that chapter in the book you've just opened. If there's no clarity, don't worry. But rest assured that your feelings of mundaneness, lack of aliveness, unfulfillment, overripeness, like a banana that's gone off for too long, are all helping you to discover something fresh and new to move towards. So I invite you to listen deeply on this webinar, rather than listening for what you already know or how what I say relates to other modalities that you follow. I invite you instead to just listen deeply, not to the noise in your head, but to just what's presented here. And in doing so, you'll feel yourself become present. A level of clarity will pop up. You'll experience a deeper sense of being settled, feeling well, and you'll go off into the rest of your day from a different vibration and energy that supports you in moving forward. So when you're ready, you can just open your eyes and join me here. Okay. So a new chapter can feel scary, is what I'm noticing. We can be presented with things that need to change that maybe we don't feel ready to change, or we think we're going to lose out or miss out or not manage if we change them. And that can leave us feeling scattered. We can end up putting a gun to our head and running our life with a gun to our head and staying in the same cycle. The most helpful thing I can share with you that will take you from living life like that and the experience of being scattered and without focus is to see that you're one thought away from being centered and focused and clear. You're not miles away. You're not a new house away, a new country away, a new boyfriend away, 50,000 in the bank account away, a cleaner kitchen and a better wardrobe away. You're one thought away from focused, clear, aligned. Feeling scattered is our friend, letting us know we have speeded up inside. We are running at millions of miles an hour, millions of thoughts an hour inside. It is not an indicator that you're a mess, that you can never change, that your life is a mistake, that you've made the wrong choices. It is a beautiful friend letting you know it's time to make space to quieten down. When the mind settles, we go from scattered to focused. We go from holding ourselves back to moving forward gently or at the speed of light, whatever we feel like. We go from repeating the same cycle to being in flow. We go from something feeling off and terrible to things feeling clear with a direction. One thought away. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, this is so hopeful. This doesn't require hundreds of thousands of dollars on, I don't know, all sorts of things you think you need to change to feel better. Feeling scattered is the invitation. Feeling a lack of clarity is the invitation to take the gun away from the head, to let the state of mind settle, and to come back home to center, where everything is clear and hopeful and possible. When we don't know that, we innocently speed up. We start thinking we need to do more or have more or get more or move more. We innocently speed up. Humans are the only species to speed up when they get lost. I said this before, when you look at an animal in the wild, when they get lost, the first thing they do is they stop, regain their bearings, and they tune in, they're scenting where to go next. Feeling scattered is your invitation to regain your bearings. Feeling afraid, putting the gun to your head. Feeling hopeless, feeling out of flow, something feeling off, is your invitation to regain your bearings. Because in regaining your bearings, you are one thought away from all change. And wow, is that a more graceful way to live? Instead of having to constantly change your externals in the hope that that's what's going to feel better. Now, it's very possible that your new chapter requires you or invites you to change your externals. But I encourage you not to make changes from a place of not being completely centered, from a place of a gun to your head. I invite you to regain your bearings and see what makes sense when you're in that state, because that's your true nature. And your true nature has wonderful boundaries. Your true nature is gentle, but is also not afraid to say, this isn't working for me anymore. Your true nature is received by others in a way that is non-confrontational. Your true nature really diffuses tension and stress and conflict. In that state, we access a lot more of divine mind's direction for us. Things you may have been spinning on for weeks or months or years come into focus. suddenly what looked like a really big deal falls away. And it's just obvious what to do next. It's just clear what's the correct direction. Because divine mind's direction for you is often what you feel willing to do, what you feel a desire to do, what you feel called to do, but maybe you just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Or maybe it looks like a big deal to you. Maybe it's going to offend the people around you. In any case, as we fall into this space of grace, we have access to ideas and possibilities and opportunities that we just don't see when we're running at the speed of light. I liken it on many of my webinars to the Empire State Building. If you can imagine that when you go up the Empire State Building, the view at the top is incredibly clear. You've got access to Central Park, the Chrysler Building, all sorts of parts of Manhattan. You can see so beautifully. It's the same when our state of mind goes up. It's the same when we fall out of a lot of overthinking and scattered feelings, and we move up the ladder of consciousness to the higher floors of consciousness. And up at the top, we have clear vision. We have confidence. We are in our true nature. We see what's next. We have an opportunity and we act on it. That's normal. We're going up our personal Empire State. When we try and make decisions from the lower floors of consciousness, when our state of mind is down, when we're running at the speed of light internally, when we're feeling tired and scattered, we're on the lower floors of the Empire State Building, the lower floors of consciousness. We can't see as clearly down there. It's not that we can't have access to divine mind down there. In fact, when we're down there, that tends to be the time we suddenly let go of trying to figure it out and we let divine mind come in and help us, finally. But what I'm really living and breathing and inviting you to is to live in that space more of the time. Don't wait to be on the lower floors before you start to rely on divine mind's help. This is why it's so hopeful and so powerful that we can move into flow, into alignment, into clarity, into confidence, one thought away. Some of the ways that I like to cultivate that connection with divine mind, which goes hand in hand with deepening my relationship with self with a capital S, is to take the time to ask in the morning, what do I need to know today? Is to begin the day with some form of prayer, whether it's thank you or please help with, or what would you have me do about? Some of the ways I like to cultivate that connection is to be in nature, to be walking, especially by the sea, and to stop and just breathe it in. Some of the other ways for me have been saying no to invitations and actually spending time alone. this divine mind, this God aspect, this energy that's breathing you right now, turning acorns into oak trees, embryos into babies, healing your wounds without you having to do anything about it, really, knows how to move you into a new chapter, is living you, but you have to let it. So when things feel hard and like a struggle and like you're always efforting and you're pushing and people start to look like complete assholes because your state of mind is just gone so low that everything's irritating you, that's your time to come back and rely on divine mind support for you. Let it live you. If you think it's all on you to fix the business, to sort out the money, to deal with the boyfriend, to decide where to live in the world, you're relying too much on self with a small s. And in that space, that's when things feel constricted. That's when we get options like, well, I can live here or I can live there. Well, divine mind always has a third option that you haven't even seen right now. Well, I can have this boyfriend or that boy. Well, divine mind always has a third boyfriend if you wanted. You just haven't seen him right now. Well, I guess I can have this much money in the bank or that much money in the bank. Depends how hard I work. Divine mind is not limited. It has an idea for you that will move you beyond anything you've had before. Well, I guess my artwork or my writing work or my creative work could go in this direction or that direction, but I guess that's all there is. This or that, the pendulum is not divine mind's idea for you. That's just what we make up. That's Bob, usually. That's the gun to the head. That's relying on past experience. Divine mind has something that you're meant to do that you may just not have heard or looked at or seen yet. Divine mind has somewhere for you to live. Divine mind has someone for you to be with. Divine mind has a certain number of kilos for you to weigh. Divine mind has a certain number of dollars for you to have. Okay? It's not limited. But we've learned to over-rely on our small self and over-rely on our past experience to inform our future. This is why deepening that experience with and that connection to divine mind is so important for all of us at this time, because creating a new chapter, one that doesn't look like everything that's happened before, and one that elicits from us a feeling of aliveness, a feeling of inspiration, a feeling of dedication, of purpose, of clarity, of alignment, is not going to come from what we already know with our little mind. It's going to be born through us based on listening more deeply, hearing more clearly the direction of divine mind for us. Here's the good news. You can recognize the direction of divine mind for you in feelings of, oh, that'd be nice. Oh, I think I'd like to do that. Oh, it'd be good to go there. Oh, this seems like the right thing. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to. Oh my God, I can't wait. It can go, put it like this, its will is your will. Does that make sense? You're not going to get, no, I don't want to do that. But you might be surprised at the lack of limitation divine mind has for you. You might be pleasantly over delighted with the direction it wants you to go in, even if you feel scared, scattered, overwhelmed. It's living you. It's breathing you. Let it. I always liken it to, and I've not had a baby myself, but always liken it to women who are pregnant, and the moment comes when, you know, it's time to push. It's time to just get the baby out. Well, you're not in charge of when that moment's going to hit. Divine mind just suddenly goes, right. You're not sitting around saying, well, hold on a minute, I got to have my coffee, or hang on, the dishes need done, or, oh, let's see when this is going to happen. I think I'll be ready at about 6:10 on Tuesday, the 15th. No. Divine mind is pushing through you. Divine mind is living you. Divine mind is making sure that everything comes through. And yet we think we're deciding, and it'd be better if we decide what to do. It'd be better if we make all the decisions. It'd be better if we just figured it out. In the moment of Francesco's death, that was not what I wanted. And yet, Divine Mind's love was so powerfully enveloping me that I had a level of acceptance that looked unreal to the rest of the world. I knew by that feeling of love that went on for weeks, and in the moment of finding him there dead, I knew Divine Mind is here, is part of this. This is whatever's happening, as much as I don't like it and don't want it, this is the path. As I've navigated the grief of that, as I've gone up and down in my state of mind, and as my consciousness has risen and dropped at times, as I have got lost in memories and past, and as I have come forward into possibility and future, that feeling of Divine Mind's love has never dissipated, in the sense that I remember that feeling. I remember the truth in that. This is why I can say with certainty, I can promise you, this energy is on your side. Get out of the way. Take a break. Do what the wild animal does in the wild, and just step back, regain your bearings. Let yourself be lived this way, and you will see a flow you didn't even know was possible. Your new chapter can be written and expressed in a fresh way. That's the beauty of following those nudges you get, going in accordance with your desires, getting yourself out of the way. You're one thought away. You're one thought away from that focus, that alignment, that clarity, that feeling of love, that direction, that conversation you want to have with someone, that ending, that beginning. You're one thought away. And as we lean on divine mind's support around all of that, we are moved into another chapter. Does anyone have a question or a comment or a suggestion at this point? Karen, did you raise your hand?
Yeah. Let me see if I can phrase this. I think for me, it's the first time that I don't feel that it's taking a long time, and I don't get that. I'm really good at listening to that divine voice, and I just don't get it lately for much longer than ever before in my life. It's almost like sometimes I think, well, I'm getting older now, and uh, I need to be patient. And it's in the waiting, trying to stand back, like you said, like the animal before moving forward, is been a long time for me, relatively speaking, and not being in touch with that, um, what my deepest self, the bigger self, was saying. It's like I don't get anything, so I just keep on being patient and doing what I'm doing and doing what I need to do, doing, there's plenty that I do that I want to do, but it's a long time in coming for me. So I guess I want to ask, is that normal? I don't know what to do. It's like, I know what you're saying, Grace. I know it. It's part of myself, and
The
that's
good,
how I live.
yeah, the good news is divine mind doesn't care what age you are, and it doesn't care what you want. And it doesn't care about what uncomfortable conversations you have to have that look uncomfortable to you. Karen, it's part of the reason I've created the course. People were telling me over and over again, they're feeling this disconnect. They want to get back in touch with that voice within. They want to experience that divine mind's love and help. And they want to be able to make changes without feeling uncomfortable about it. It sounds to me like when we're not hearing clearly, our mind is just churning so rapidly, and usually the same habitual crap, that there's nothing fresh and new coming in. When I'm in that state, Karen, one piece I will share with you is I try not to have conversations that require endings in that state. I wait until I'm regain the bearings, one thought away, and then I come from that other energy and space. It sounds to me like you're in that right now. Thank you for your question. Angela's written in, what resonates most is, in seeing the path I'm on isn't what I choose, especially when so much narrative points towards creating your own reality. There are elements of this path I really don't like. Can you speak to that? Yes, I can, Angela. Yeah, I can. Apologies, you've been sick and lying in bed. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I completely resonate with that. It's like I said earlier, I would never have chosen the path that Francesco would die, ever. And neither would you choose the path that you're experiencing right now. The narrative that's pointing towards creating your own reality, this is where I invite people to listen to what I'm sharing without comparing it or trying to see it with all the other modalities out there. What's coming to me for you is living in non-resistance. It's going to awaken your energy, Angela. It's going to heighten your well-being. It's going to give you a lot more with your ability to navigate what's in front of you. And also, I know the way you work with other people is really powerful and helpful. It's going to help you with them. Because no doubt they are also on some level living in that resistance to what is. Now, one of the things that I really want you to be careful with is blame. So the thing that I really find unhelpful from the whole you create your own reality world is that you can get into a narrative of blame and guilt and shame. Life knows what it's doing. Everybody has their own path. You're not creating someone else's reality. You can be in charge of your own experience of the reality you're in by no longer resisting it and fighting it and thinking it should be different and trying to change it and trying to improve it and that's effort. It's resistance is what I mean by that. You are not responsible for your husband's reality. You're only responsible, all of us are only responsible for how we experience our reality and their reality. There's a big difference. So true on blame and guilt and shame, so freeing. Thank you. Good. Glad you're here today.
Grace, I had to tell you this. It's huge.
Go ahead.
What you just said about resistance, I realized that something that happened with me in my life was not my choice. And I have, on a very deep level, been fighting it, resisting it. And it's not like me. And as soon as you said that, it sounds so simple, but it's the first time I have a pressure in my eyes and my head totally released for the first
Yeah.
time in weeks.
Yeah.
So I just have to say, that's it.
Yeah.
That I it's like I'm saying, I don't want this, and this, I don't want this reality. And on a very deep level, I resisting it, fighting it instead of going with the flow of it and trusting. And I think the irony is that the minute you do that, you suddenly don't, when you don't feel that resistance, the whole thing gets resolved much faster. That's the irony.
That's what's called letting yourself be lived, letting go of you being in control of absolutely everything that needs to happen and letting divine mind live you. Your experience can only get better. It doesn't mean we end up staying in situations that have run their course, but you've just seen and you've just felt physically. I hear this often, Karen. You've just felt physically the shift, okay? Because you dropped out of little Karen fighting what she's up against and who she's up against. And now divine mind has a chance to work through you and see where that goes. That might be an ending, that might be a beginning, but it certainly will be filled with love rather than conflict. And sometimes love says no. Anybody else today want to ask a question? Don't forget your questions are also maybe helping somebody who's listening to the replay. So if you do have a question and you feel a bit like, oh, I don't know, just ask for someone else. You don't even have to ask for yourself if it doesn't feel it's just for you. And you can just come on. I'm hoping this has been helpful. Oh, let me just go there. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think I've done that right. Okay, so oh, Mandy, here we go. Hi, Mandy. I think I saw your post. You got back to your country today. Fantastic. This is creating huge insight. Sorry, my headset not working, so can't come on. Would have loved to. Good. I'm glad it's creating huge insight. That's always my intention and plan is that essentially everybody gets what they need. And of course, as we listen deeply, we are able to experience those insights more easily. So welcome back, Mandy. It's great to have you here. Any other questions before we finish? Non-resistant, yeah. Yeah. Angela, sometimes love says no is also very important. I remember saying that to Ella when I knew she wanted things that wouldn't be good for her as a toddler. Yeah. Yeah, you know, this is part of the way we get scattered, is we keep saying yes, as if being a yes woman is, you know, we're going to get approval, everybody's going to like us. And actually, of course, love says no at times, you know, of course, love says no. So you want to just be tuned into that for yourselves. I think we're all on that all of us in creating our new chapter, our next chapter. All of us are going to get stronger at that. I have that sense. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes love says no. So if you haven't got more questions, I'll just share a little bit about the program and you can make your mind up. It's very simple. It's going deeper of what we've done today. It's giving you that opportunity to really move from scattered to focused and to discover with deep clarity what's next for you, what would be fresh and new. It's moving you beyond the bob in your head and the gun to your head to actually having a clearer state of mind that I believe is discouragement proof. Because in those higher states of mind, we see possibility, we have hopefulness, we have confidence. Our image begins to change. We can begin to even appear younger, certainly more vital. I wish that I could bottle this up into a little tonic or perfume and give it to everybody and they would just spray it on and that would be it, because that would just wipe out the need for all sorts of funky things that are out there today to make women look better. Your state of mind being settled makes you look great. That's it. Your state of mind being in a good space moves you from scattered to focused and from exhausted and tired to alive and inspired. And that's what's on offer. So week 1, we're going to look at creating space to hear divine mind so that we get more access there, that we're hearing what's fresh and new, and that we stop going on this pendulum of this or that, or this idea versus that idea. Week 1 is really about deepening your connection and hearing the guidance clearly for the thing that you're looking the most help around. Okay. Week 2 is about going from scattered to focused, one thought away. I'm really going to be taking you there on a journey that allows you to really move into that focus and alignment, because when you're in that focus and alignment, everything's clear, everything's obvious, everything's easier, and you just know what you're going to do. Week 3 is about calling in bigger things. So it's really about increasing your mental and energetic bandwidth. If you've been feeling exhausted, if you're giving to everybody else, if you just don't have space for yourself, that particular week, as well as the whole course, is going to help you open up energetically to call in fresh and new, and to call in bigger if that's what you're up to. If you've been feeling like, where are the keys to the kingdom? I just want things to be easier and more peaceful. And, I just want out of this little tight box I'm in. That's going to be particularly helpful to you. I'm going to also be looking at your passions. I've always been passionate about that, but helping you get back in touch with you and what you want and your passions, so that you're not scattering yourself, saying yes to everybody else's demands, but rather calling in what's right for you. And week 4 will really be about us consolidating it all, bringing it together, so that you're blossoming into your new chapter and moving off into the world, experiencing that, implementing that, taking the natural next step with the confidence that you have gained and discovered and awakened on those weeks that we've been together. It's a 4-week course. 4 is a number of stability. And I also didn't feel that it needed to be longer than that, knowing what we know about how the mind works. At this stage, we're really going for a deep dive across those 4 consecutive weeks, where we're able to simply move at a pace that is realistic, graceful, but also not dragging it out in such a way that you're stuck in a cycle. Okay. As I began our webinar today, I shared with you that simple truth. You're one thought away. So I am expecting each person on the course throughout those week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 to really be shifting their consciousness up, state of mind up, clarity up, one thought away each time from what is the next chapter, the new chapter, what's being called forward. So you can see I've written the link, gracefulcoaching.net/your new chapter. If you'd like to join us today, you can join. There are 4 spaces remaining. I would expect that those would sell out after this replay goes out as well. But there are 4 spaces, and there's still the bonus. We have a beautiful bonus offer, 6 recordings of Money and Miracles. It was one of our best-selling courses actually at the time, just to support you in awakening to more miracles. And if you're wanting to call in bigger things, be it money, miracles, well-being, love, whatever, that particular course will be super helpful to you. Okay. Each week will be recorded. If you can't make it live, there will be a recording, and it's currently priced at £297. So the early bird finished April 30th, but again, the bonus is there for you if you'd like it. And I hope you'll join us. If you got a feeling today that you want to go deeper, that you want to do a bit more with me, this is a perfect, easy jumpstart into that atmosphere of love and well-being and creating our new chapter together. All right, I hope this has been helpful, everybody. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. And thanks for being here. Love your energy. Lots of love, everybody. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome. Bye.